You're listening to Straight Outta Stratford 203 with Zach and Julian, the best sports podcast in Connecticut. Sit back and enjoy the ride in 3, 2, 1.
Straight Outta Stratford, slinging takes like Stafford, talking all the big games, have a beer right after. When it comes to the facts and the stats we provide, better know that our names will be up in the rafters.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Straight Outta Stratford podcast, episode number 13. I'm your host, Zach, along with my co-host,
Julian. What's going on, guys?
What's going on, guys? We had quite the week of the NFL this past week. We did see a game last night since it is Friday, so we did see a Thursday night game, but very good week of the NFL. Glad that we're starting to get a little bit more back into it, even though, it only just started. So we got a long way to go, but a lot of good stuff happened this week. We saw a lot of good teams playing, get their big wins. Some teams very, very surprising. Some didn't really come out and live up to the expectation from what we saw. Some did, exceed what we thought they would. So we'll kind of get into it a little bit. We saw the Packers and Commanders play last week. They ended up beating Washington 28-17.
Packers look really good this year.
The Packers look very good.
They look like they're going all in.
Well, that's one thing I did want to talk about is right now they do look like contenders. Now, the big question for me is, are they Super Bowl contenders yet or not? For me, I think it's still a little bit early to say that they're Super Bowl contenders just because they've only played 2 games. Both games that they won, they played against the Lions and they've played Washington, who were 2 very, very good teams. But as of this year, Washington looked like they may start out a little bit slower as well. They didn't really impress me as much as they did last season. Same thing with Detroit. We saw them come out very flat in their first game. Yeah. And obviously the Packers defense is still very good. They limited, both offenses that they played to low rushing yards. They got to the quarterback fairly well. So the defense is legit. We know that.
The offense is the question mark right now.
Of course. And
especially now that they're without Jaden Reed for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and that's a big blow to the offense as well. I think that does mean that Matthew Golden will be included a little bit more in some of their packages. But, the Packers have a lot of good things going for them. I like their head coach in LaFleur. I think he's a very, very good head coach. I had a talk with my buddies about this a few nights ago saying that we think that he's one of the top coaches in the league.
Oh, without a doubt.
And it shows, the team has always been very competitive, especially under his leadership. I think that he doesn't really get as much respect as he should. I would put him up in the conversation of top 3 to maybe top 5 coaches in the NFL right now. So I definitely think the coaching is there. The defense is there. The run game with Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs has, I believe, scored in now 11 or 12 consecutive games. So, again, the run game is there as well, too. It's going to come down to one piece. And that's going to be Jordan Love. Now, Jordan Love so far
has looked all right.
He's looked good. He hasn't really, gone too crazy and put up these huge stat games, but he's been efficient. He hasn't really turned the ball over. He's made some very good plays. He's got the run game to help him out a lot as well, too. His decision-making looks much, much better than it did in prior years. So I think the Packers, again, are going to be a very, very good team. I think that they have a shot at being Super Bowl contenders down the line if they continue to play the way that they're playing. It's just like we said, biggest question mark is going to be Jordan Love. Can the success continue? I think it can. I still do believe that they win that division if they can keep going that way.
If they keep playing at the rate they're doing, I see them winning the division. I see the Lions coming in second.
I agree with that.
And I have the Vikings coming last.
You think the Bears pass the Vikings?
I think at some point, if they're still playing the way that they are, the Bears, they'll obviously wake up. Hopefully.
Well,
eventually.
You would hope.
I think they do pass the Vikings, only because the last game that J.J. McCarthy played last Sunday, he did not look good at all.
Well, we'll discuss that too. But
you even saw that in the first game against the Bears. Like the first half, he looked god awful,
yes.
And then the second half, he came out slinging the football like he was that guy, And then all of a sudden, against the Falcons, he just wasn't that good.
Yeah, and that's something that we're going to
And
end up
now
talking about,
now he's
too,
out
but-
again. So
Yeah, he is going to miss, which, like I said, we're going to get to at some point as well, too, because I want to take a little bit deeper of a dive into that as well. But speaking of quarterbacks missing some time, we're going to transition into the Bengals. The Bengals announced that Joe Burrow is going to miss about 3 months due to a grade 3 turf toe injury that he had during the Jaguars game last week. And now the thing is, Jake Browning is going to be probably taking over as their quarterback. He came in during the game. He finished the game 21-32 with 241 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Now, I don't know what this means for the Bengals going forward. As we had talked about before, I mean, I didn't really have high hopes for the Bengals because of their defense, but right now they do sit at 2-0. And obviously, if they keep winning games, they may find themselves in a potential playoff spot.
and they might need a different quarterback.
They might need a different quarterback.
Now, I'm going to say something, which, if it happens, it would be pretty fun to watch. At the same time, I would be a little upset because he's coming from the Giants.
I knew where you were going with that.
I would love to see Jameis Winston throwing the ball downfield to Jamar Chase.
Now, yeah, that would be a sight to see, too. I've seen 2 names that have been floated around. One of them doesn't really make sense just because of the contract. One of them does make sense. The one that does make sense is Jameis Winston because they did sign him to a very cheap deal. He wouldn't be that, cost heavy to the Bengals.
2 years as well.
Yep, and it's not a long contract, so I think it's more sustainable. The other name that I saw being floated around, which again, I don't know if it's possible, is Kirk Cousins. Because you still have Kirk Cousins in Atlanta. He's not a bad quarterback. He's just not going to end up seeing the field. The only thing that hurts him is they did sign him to a very big deal. Now he's a backup quarterback. He's getting paid a lot of money as a backup. I don't know if the Bengals have the money to actually acquire him.
Probably not.
I definitely don't think they do. Now, it would be a very good fit because I think Kirk Cousins is the better quarterback over Jameis Winston. That being said, for the money, Jameis Winston's the easier choice there. I think it would be more fun to watch with Jameis anyway. There's something about Jameis. I've talked about this before.
You can't hate him.
It's very, very difficult to dislike the guy. I know he's had some moments back maybe earlier in college where people weren't too fond of him because I remember hearing some rumors that he did something very stupid. I don't know if that's true or not.
But it's like Jameis Winston is just Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
He's the vibes guy.
He is. He's 100% a vibes guy. He's going to be the one that gets the locker room hyped. His speeches are definitely something, pregame and postgame.
He eats the W too, you know?
It's just something about Jameis that really, it makes me laugh. And the thing is, he has been an effective quarterback as well, too. I mean, he did have 1 year where he led the league in interceptions, and a lot of people were killing him on that. But he also did lead the league in, I believe, passing yards and passing touchdowns.
Yeah, he had like 40 touchdowns, 40 interceptions.
Yeah,
or something.
it was horrendous. But at the same time, the guy I think is still an upgrade over Jake Browning. I don't know if that says much, but at least for now, we're going to see Jake Browning taking on another backup quarterback this upcoming week when they play the Vikings.
I have a name that could be dealt. I don't know if he would. I wouldn't be surprised if they call the Rams about Jimmy Garoppolo.
That's definitely a potential thing. Now, I don't think the Rams will just because of their concern with what will happen with Matthew Stafford. Because Stafford is one really big hit away from being in some trouble. Now, granted, he's been very, very good for the Rams so far to start this season. I've been very happy with his play. And I know that as the years I've seen him, especially when he started in Detroit, all the way until he became a Ram, and then now, he's a guy that's going to take some hits and he'll play through injury. The guy's a dog. He definitely is.
Yeah.
But he's also older now. And he's going to have some matchups where there are going to be some very good defensive lines that are going to press up on him. They have a lot of talent. I just, knock on wood, I pray to God because I like Matthew Stafford a lot, obviously, as a Rams fan. But I don't want to see him get hurt. But obviously, there is the potential that he does. He was already dealing with an injury before going into the preseason. I don't want to see him get hurt. But I think that the Rams also know that. And they say, well, at least if Stafford was to go down, I feel like McVay has a lot of faith in Jimmy Garoppolo. Obviously, his faith in Stetson Bennett has risen since the preseason as well because Stetson played very well. But I think it would be a little questionable to see them move off of Garoppolo even as a backup. But it's definitely it's an option.
I have a few other names which I could throw out there. I don't know if it would be Like,
Well, you could
a
throw 'em out.
reality
I'm curious to hear.
or possible, like, because they obviously weren't great starters when they did start, and some of them didn't even start at all. You have Malik Willis from the Packers, I believe.
Yep.
Joe Milton from the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And Anthony Richardson.
No, I don't think they'd move off Richardson either, but a couple of those names I could potentially see.
If they sat Richardson for Daniel Jones, I think they're pretty much done with him.
It's possible. I just think he was the better fit, to be honest, too. I saw it coming because Richardson really did struggle at some point, but, again, I think it's still a little bit early for teams to give up on guys, especially guys like Joe Milton. I mean, Joe Milton hasn't even seen the field yet.
Yeah, well, he hasn't seen the field yet, and I don't think he will because he's playing behind Dak.
Yeah, it's true. Well, we've seen Dak's injury history as well, too. So he's another one that all it takes is one big hit or him scrambling and, taking a little bump, and things could change. But that being said, the only reason why we were talking about the whole issue with the quarterback situation with Cincinnati is not only that Jake Browning doesn't seem like the full fit for them, and the fact that they're also potentially in playoff contention. Granted, it is only week 3 we're coming up on, but they also have to play the Vikings, the Broncos, the Lions, and the Packers in the next 4 weeks. And then they still have to play the Ravens twice and the Bills once. So those are games that are going to be very tough for them, especially if Joe Burrow is not there.
They're also back-to-back.
Yeah.
I think it's Ravens, Bills, Ravens.
That's a gauntlet. And so if you have Jake Browning there, I don't know how great they're really going to do. I don't. It's not like Joe Burrow's under center. If Joe Burrow's under center, you got yourself a different scenario.
Exactly.
But with Jake Browning there, I really don't know how well that they're going to do. Now, another team that we will touch on is the New York Jets. I don't know what to say about this one. Well, I mean, I kind of do, but I'm just kind of lost for words here. Their offense looked horrible against the Buffalo Bills. Absolutely horrible. Now, Justin Fields did not play well. He was 3 of 11 for 27 yards. He played for 3+ quarters before he ended up getting pulled, and he did suffer a concussion in the loss. So he's not even going to be playing this week. Now, Tyrod Taylor came in.
According to Baker Mayfield, it's actually Tyrod.
It's Tyrod
Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor came in. He went 7 of 11 for 56 yards and a touchdown in the loss. Now, the game was already over, but he actually looked a little bit better than Justin Fields.
No, I'm not going to lie. I love Tyrod. He was...
Well, I know you have prior experience with him.
He was the backup for Daniel Jones when he went out, and he looked pretty good. I couldn't really complain much about him. Wasn't much to complain about. Until he got hurt, really, And then once he got hurt, Tommy DeVito came in, and he went on his little insanity run, and now he's in New England doing whatever he's doing.
Now, something I actually wanted to mention, too, now that you said Tyrod Taylor and I said prior experience, I actually saw Tyrod Taylor play against the Rams at MetLife Stadium when I went to the Rams-Giants game. I believe it was 2 years ago.
And he balled out.
And he went crazy in that game. And I'm sitting there going, they're starting Tyrod. We should be able to beat him fairly easily.
You guys only won by a field goal.
No, we won by 1 point. You guys missed a field goal at the end of the game to lose.
That's what I meant.
And that was crazy. Thank God the Rams won.
That was on New Year's Eve.
That was on New Year. Yeah, that was on New Year's Eve. I remember that was a great game to go to. I was definitely pooping my pants a little bit there when I saw them line up for the field goal, thinking, "Oh my God, I can't believe that we're about to lose to the Giants." Now, granted, we did not lose to the Giants, but Tyrod did play very, very well.
If Tyrod has the right team around him, he can ball out.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why I think the Jets, It's tough because I don't know how great of weapons they really have. I mean, obviously they have Garrett Wilson.
The Giants really didn't have any weapons.
Well, the Giants didn't have...
they had Saquon. That was about it.
Well, even... I don't know if was Saquon even on the...
2 years ago, yeah.
Yes, he was. Yeah, that's right. Saquon was on the team when I went. Wow. It just goes to show sometimes that felt like a little bit longer, or maybe not as long ago.
That probably also was a factor on why the game was as close as it was.
It probably was too, but... Now, we'll get back to the Jets a little bit. They didn't really look that great. Now, the only issue for me is Justin Fields went into the season. He signed a 3-year deal.
What was a 2-year deal?
No, I believe it was 3 years.
You
could look it up.
I'm
almost positive.
I think it's 2.
I'm pretty positive it was 3. Now, granted, 3 years, 2 years, whatever way you look at it. This is going to look like a tough contract if he keeps playing the way that he's playing. So the question is now, what do the Jets do if they start out 0-3 because they have to play against the Buccaneers this week? That's not going to be an easy game. Where do they go from here, especially if Justin Fields continues to struggle?
2 years, $40 million.
2 years, $40 million. Okay, so 2-year deal. But where do the Jets go from here? Do they continue to roll with Justin Fields? If Tyrod Taylor plays well, do they roll with Tyrod Taylor? I mean, I think obviously if you're going to pay Justin Fields, he's probably going to be the starter. But at the same time, if he continues to come out and struggle the way that especially he did in the last game, which route do you go? If Tyrod comes out and plays well this week, and then Justin Fields comes out the following week.
He most likely will.
Well, yeah, but what happens, say Tyrod comes out and they maybe not win, but they play a very competitive game against the Buccaneers, keep it extremely close. Justin Fields comes back from injury, and he replicates exactly what he did in Game 2 against the Bills and just does not look good. Do they go back to Tyrod? Do they stick with Justin Fields? I think they do stick with Justin. I just don't think that it's the right idea.
I mean, they're giving the man $20 million a year. All the talent is there. It's just that he hasn't proven that he's good enough to.
Well,
what I'm saying, it's kind of like how I'm not comparing him to Lamar Jackson at all because Lamar is way better by light years, but in a way he's kind of similar, like the running back comparison. You know, he's only good at running the football. He can't throw.
Well, yeah, no, I could see that. At first when you said Lamar, I was like, whoa,
I'm not saying Lamar Jackson is way better. I'm just saying in a way, right? They're saying Justin Fields doesn't know how to throw the ball. He doesn't know how to make the right reads and stuff. And they said that about Lamar for a while.
They did.
And then now you look at Lamar, and Lamar is one of, if not the best quarterback in the NFL.
That's a very, very good point.
And I'm not saying Justin Fields is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, when you look at it, he was great in college. He played at Ohio State. But most college athletes don't go into the NFL and do exactly what they do.
Well, yeah, no, you're 100% right. Now, the thing that I'm just surprised on, too, is when you talk about Lamar got those running back comparisons and then worked an entire offseason and turned everything around and basically said to all the people that were doubting him, well, how about now? Justin Fields has had plenty of years to try and turn it around. I mean, with the Bears, he did. He had the one season with the Steelers. Now, granted, he only played 3 games.
Well, I'm going to say this. The Bears took him, let him play for a year, realized he wasn't the quarterback that they took, and didn't try and put a team around him that suited him best.
And
they gave up on him. So I'm not saying it's completely his fault on not succeeding with the Bears because they didn't set him up for success. They set him up for failure.
Yeah.
At the same time, the Bears could have been like, hey, we'll give you an O-line, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. We'll give you a few games, maybe a year, see how you go out there and do what you got to do. And they're like, you know what? Caleb Williams is going in the draft next year. You know what? We'll just not build around Fields and build around.
But that project really hasn't worked either, and it's
and what I'm going to say is the Bears, they traded up for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
They traded
crazy.
They traded their first-round pick in, I think it was the 2021 draft. They traded their number 20 pick, and I believe their first-round pick the year after in 2022 to the Giants. So the Giants had pick 11, and I was 100% dead set. First of all, I saw the Cowboys at 10, Eagles at 12. That was when the NFC was still pretty bad.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Dallas is probably going to take an edge rusher, and I thought the Giants were going to get Devonta Smith. I was so happy. I thought the Giants were going to get Devonta Smith. Then I see the Cowboys trade with the Eagles, and I'm like, that was weird. Smith went to the Eagles, and I'm jumping up and down screaming, we got Micah Parsons.
Nope.
The Giants trade down to the 20th pick and took Kadarius Toney.
Yep. Wow. Yeah, that's I feel bad for you there. It's just, you know,
it's not even like we hit with the draft pick.
No, you did not.
In the year after, too, because with the 5th pick that we got from the Bears, we took Evan Neal.
Yeah, and that was not a good pick either.
I mean the pick 7 we had, we took Thibodeau, and he's looked.
Well, Thibodeau's looked at least halfway decent. Evan Neal has not looked good, and Kadarius Toney we're not even going to talk about because that man, geez. But yeah, no. So I just going back to the whole Justin Fields thing. Like I said, I think the guy has potential. I agree with a lot of what you said about his biggest flaw is holding on to the ball too long. He's able to run the ball extremely well. He doesn't really do well with audible calls, reading defenses, making the right reads on certain throws. I think that that's something that he should focus on a little bit more. I'm surprised that he hasn't already. But it is getting to the point where the Jets have this contract for 2 years.
They gave him $20 million. When I saw that they gave him 2 years, $40 million, I was like, is this the same Justin Fields that we've seen the last 2-3 years?
That's what I'm saying is the fact that they gave him the money. Obviously, they're going to want the guy to play if they're paying him that kind of money.
And it shows that they do believe in him.
Of course.
In some capacity. I mean, their O-line really isn't that bad.
No, it's not. But like I said, it's just him struggling with his reads, not making the throws. Now, he's made a couple. The first game against the Steelers, he actually looked really good.
Yeah, but when you look at the Steelers' defense, right? I mean, they're supposed to be the best defense in the league. One of the best defenses in the league, and their secondary is just full of old people. I'm not saying it like in a bad way, right?
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
their cornerback number 1, is Jalen Ramsey.
Don't disrespect my king.
I'm not gonna disrespect Jalen Ramsey.
No, I know.
But
he is older. Yes,
he's old and he's way past his prime.
Yes, and then same thing with Darius.
I'm not saying he still can't play football. He can still play really great football. But if it was prime Jalen Ramsey on the Steelers defense,
now we're talking.
Yeah, exactly. The same Jalen Ramsey that
was on the Rams when they won the Super Bowl,
and that guarded OBJ when the Giants played Jacksonville. That Jalen Ramsey would have been. And you have Darius Slay,
who's another one that's
one that is kind of washed.
Well, I wouldn't say washed. He's definitely not what he used to be.
He's not what he used to be.
Yes, he's not what he used to be.
And then they have amazing young cornerback in Joey Porter Jr.
Yep. I figured that would be kind of their cornerback one, but
and then you look at their safeties, right?
Well, they traded Minka. They don't have Minka anymore.
They signed Jabril Peppers, but what's that going to do?
Well, the thing is, I think it's just because someone else in their safety room, I believe, got hurt too. So that's why they kind of made that move. But I see what we're kind of getting to with the whole Justin Fields thing. Like I said, I don't know if it's too early. I don't know if it's too late. I just don't understand, or I'm curious to see, not understanding. I'm curious to see what happens with Justin Fields if the play continues going the way that it's going, because they're not really looking that great. You start out 0-3, especially since you're going to have to play the Bills again. I mean, they're going to have some tougher games in that schedule. They may end up wanting to look at another quarterback for the future, even behind him. So that's why I'm only saying the whole thing about Justin Fields. It's possible he keeps playing the way he's playing, that they may look towards getting another quarterback at some point.
Now, one thing I wanted to say that I completely forgot about when we were talking about the Bengals and Joe Burrow is that his career so far reminds me a lot of Andrew Luck's.
Yeah, we should have actually mentioned that as well, too. I think he's actually been sacked more times in the same amount of games.
He has been sacked more times in the same amount of games. But when you look at Andrew Luck, right, he was coming out of college. He won the Heisman, right, I believe? Or I don't know if he won the Heisman, but
he was in the conversation.
He was in the conversation. He was really good in college, came out to the Colts, who weren't even a bad team, but his problem was that he couldn't stay healthy. He retired fairly young. I believe he retired when he was like 28 or 29 due to...
He was a runner-up 2 years in a row.
Yeah, runner-up. It's not that bad. Like
two times in a row.
2 times in a row, yeah. And he came out of college and he looked great. But he couldn't stay healthy. Colts weren't a bad team. He just couldn't stay healthy, and that ultimately led him to retiring at an early age of 28 or 29.
Yeah, which was a shame because it was very unexpected too. I mean, obviously with the injuries, it was kind of expected, but when they announced it or he made the announcement, a lot of people were like, "What? Andrew Luck retired? What the hell?" Type.
Yeah,
of...
like I'm gonna say this right now. He is probably smarter than a lot of NFL players because at the time, right, he probably was making a lot of money.
Not even compared to what they're making now.
Not compared to what they're making now, but he probably missed out on millions of dollars just so he could spend time and remember spending time with his family.
Yeah, well,
and his wife, and like what I'm saying is that he was 28, 29, right? And a lot of players, like if they keep getting injured, they're like, all right, you know what? I'll just until I physically can't throw. Like Drew Brees, I think came out and said that he can't throw a football anymore, like with his right arm.
well,
Because of how long he played in the NFL and like the amount of injuries he had or something.
yeah, well, he was injured. I wouldn't say a decent amount. It was a little bit less, but he still had some problems too. But it's actually funny you mentioned something about the whole injury situation and stepping away from the game because there is a team and a quarterback that we're actually going to talk about that I don't understand why this guy is still playing either, and that's Tua Tagovailoa. Now. We'll go into that after. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about this.
What I'm going to say right about Burrow is that I'm not saying that. Well, as of right now, Burrow has played better than Luck has played in the NFL.
Yeah.
Well, arguably, they've kind of been around like floating around the same.
Well, the Bengals also did make it to a Super Bowl, which Andrew Luck did not do. So I could see it. Yeah.
But a lot of people are overlooking the fact that Burrow's had. I believe that was his rookie year. He tore something, right? Or not tore something. I don't know. He might have.
No, his rookie year was the Super Bowl.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't. That was Jamar Chase's rookie year. He was drafted the year before Jamar Chase, and his rookie year he got hurt against Washington. I believe he tore. Might. I don't know if it was a torn ACL, but
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even realize that because he only played for such a short period of time.
Yeah, he only played for like a few games. And then
yeah. Holy smokes.
What happened? He tore
his ACL, MCL, and meniscus.
Yes, he tore his ACL, MCL, and meniscus his rookie year.
Wow, I thought
And then the team played poorly. Then they drafted Jamar Chase. And then Jamar Chase in the preseason looked like he didn't know how to catch a football. And then regular season came and Jamar Chase just
it clicked.
And then they went to the Super Bowl, lost to the Rams.
Yeah.
And after that, I don't think Burrow's had like a fully healthy season since.
Well, he did actually play really well last year too. It's just the 0-4 start killed them, and the fact that they didn't make the playoffs killed them. Otherwise, he was an MVP candidate.
Didn't he miss time last year too, I think? With his finger? He might have missed time last year.
I don't know how much time it was, if
might
any.
have been like 1 or 2 weeks, but still, like, he hasn't had a completely healthy season since the Super Bowl run.
Yeah, and I don't know if that'll ever change unless they start getting him a better offensive line either. But going into the Dolphins now, because obviously we kind of got our point there, was I don't know what they're drinking in Miami right now, but it is painful. They have been absolutely painful to watch.
Well, one thing I am gonna say, right, is first of all the staff that the medical staff for the Dolphins like has to be. I don't know if they, like for the past season the medical staff they had. I don't know if they're gone or not, but they should be. Like when Tua, I forgot who they were playing. They might have been playing the Bengals. Tua like hit the ground. He slammed his head. Looked like he had a concussion. He went out. He was taken out of the game. Was examined by the Dolphins medical staff, and was like, they were like, nope, no concussion.
No, I think that was against the Bills.
No, it was Bengals too.
Was it?
And then yes, because it was a Thursday night football game. You could look that up too. It was a Thursday night football game against. It might have happened against both teams.
I think because I remember it happening against the Bills.
Last year it was against the Bills, but 2 years ago I think it was against the Bengals. And then he got back in the game. 2 plays later he was hit the turf again, and his fingers were like, he looked like he couldn't move his fingers. Like, allowing Tua to go, like,
Yeah.
was that right?
It was against the Bills and then the Bengals.
Yeah,
so they
it happened
played the
twice.
Bills and he had that injury, and then he went out. They told he had a concussion. They said that he was cleared and he got to play the Bengals. He got hit in a similar way and then had another concussion where he was throwing up gang
Yes, it was
signs.
the week before he played the Bills.
Yeah, and he got hurt the same way, and they were saying, "Oh no,
No, he's fine. And then
see, I knew it was both of us.
Yeah,
were right
we were
on
right.
that. Wow, I was
and then
kinda
earlier
surprised.
on in the game, right, he got sacked. He came up and then he stumbled.
Yeah.
And then after that, he literally looked like he was throwing it. Like, you can't let – it doesn't matter who you have as your backup quarterback, whether he's good or not, whether you want to win games. The NFL isn't just about winning games. It's about – the way the game has changed is all about player safety in today's league. It's not like it was back in the early 2000s when you had Ray Lewis looking to take people's heads off.
Same thing with Ed Reed, too, and Brian Dawkins.
Middle linebacker for the Niners, Patrick Willis.
Yeah, Patrick Willis. Yeah, no, there's a lot of them. But it's just, even not even just talking on Tua alone, though. The one person that I do want to talk about
Tyreek Hill?
yes, a little bit too, is Mike McDaniel.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
No, it's not even that. Now, here's what I'm going to say about Mike McDaniel. In the last 2 weeks, he's had post-game press conferences where his answers to reporters' questions have been some of the most nonchalant, laid-back, extremely weird-to-hear answers. Week 2 against the Patriots. What are you going to do to turn things around and start winning games? His response is, well, if we want to start winning games, you have to go out and win the game, not lose the game. Really? Great answer. I would have never thought, if you want to win a game, you have to win the game. Yeah, brilliant. That's not what they asked. They asked, what are you going to do to turn it around? Then last night, he comes out and they say, you start out 0-3, how are you feeling about this loss? And his response is, we're all just one day closer to death. Are we for real? Like, if I'm oh my God, I just said the Giants. If I'm the Dolphins
General
ownership and I hear that from my coach after starting out 0-3, you get blown out week 1, you lose to the Patriots in week 2, which is a team that realistically you should beat, and then you come out, now granted, Buffalo we knew was going to win that game. Buffalo's the better team. But you start out 0-3 and your coach is like joking around, making some nonsense comments after the game to the press and the media. It just looks like whatever they got going on over there, there is not a care in the world about what's happening. They don't care about winning or losing. They don't care. They're just there to collect their paycheck and go. And McDaniel, I'm telling you right now, I would be furious as a GM or an owner if I heard my head coach coming out and giving responses like that in the post-game press conferences. It's pathetic. It's sad.
Kind of reminds me of is it Brandon Staley of the when he was the head coach of the Chargers after they got blown out by the Raiders. They let the Raiders put up like 60 points, and Brandon Staley had made it sound like it wasn't a problem.
Yeah, but that's my thing is, I know you don't want to come out and rip players a new one and say, this team's lazy or this team isn't good enough, blah, blah, blah. But
you can't come out and say that we're one day closer to death.
But that's my point is you could at least come out and go, it doesn't feel good to start 0-3. There's a lot of things that we have to work on. I thought that the team did play a little bit better than we expected tonight. We got to try and get out of this 0-3 hole. We have good enough players to turn it around.
We had a few silly mistakes, but we're working on fixing it. And within the next few weeks, we are hoping to see a turnaround of this team.
But that's my point. But him to come out and go, we're just 1 week closer to death. That's such a horrible, horrible response to a media question that was very serious.
And another thing, right? At what point do the Dolphins decide it's time to move on from Tua?
Well, I was going to say not even just Tua, but Mike McDaniel as well, too.
That was kind of a given. Like, Mike McDaniel should be fired today.
He should have been fired I would have said last week. To be honest, I would have been embarrassed by the week 1 loss anyway, but I think it would be too early to fire him anyway. But I think now, if they start out, I think there's a possibility that if they start out 0-4 or or 0-5. Now, granted, I don't know who they play next week. That's something that I'm going to actually take a look at some point too. But depending on who they play next week, if they start out 0-4, you are going to have a serious, serious problem, and he may end up getting fired. Is it the Jets? I think
it is the Jets.
Okay. All I'll say on this is, if they lose that game, Mike McDaniel's gone. And he should be. Tua really didn't play that bad up until the interception last night. I think that what they'll let him do is they'll probably let him finish out the year, especially if they keep going the way that they're going. Let him finish out the year. They're going to be looking for a new quarterback, even though I believe they drafted Quinn Ewers as well. He's still sitting as their backup. Now, I don't know if he's NFL ready yet, but they are going to have to weigh out a lot of options to see who they go with next. Now, speaking of fixing teams, which the Dolphins need a fixing, we're going to talk about the Chicago Bears. They seem unfixable even with Ben Johnson as the head coach. They come out week 1 and you're taking it to the Vikings at home.
You're just giving them an ass whooping.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it was kind of an ass whipping a little bit. But you're beating them pretty bad. And you find a way to blow the game. J.J. McCarthy couldn't do anything for 3 quarters of football. 4th quarter comes around, flip the switch, and they come out and take the lead on you and end up beating you. Then week 2, you get absolute belt to ass
by the Lions.
Who the Lions the week prior couldn't do basically anything in the run game, and their offense looked very, very stalled for a majority of that game. Now, the Packers' defense, again, is legit, but still, their whole thing was Ben Johnson. It's going to be a new culture. Things are going to change. The offense is going to look more volatile than it's looked in a long time. They're going to be able to move the ball a lot better. The defense, I know they've had a couple issues as well, so I'm not going to say that it's fully the defense either. Caleb Williams is going to take a step of progression. He's going to make a big jump this year. Should be good. And then they come out, and it looks like nothing's changed.
Nope.
Maybe for the first couple quarters, yeah, that first drive that they had was electric. Moved the ball right downfield.
Well,
then after that, they've been pretty damn bad.
Well, I am going to say this. I was watching, I forgot what YouTube video I was watching, but they were talking about this, and they said it takes 2 years to install a new offense.
Yeah.
So the first year, it might not be a different, feel to the team. But maybe next year they'll come out and they'll look like what they were supposed to look like this year. I mean, when Dable and Joe Shane took over the Giants, right? Nobody expected them to make the playoffs the year after. That was that was a shock.
That was.
But it's not like that happens with every single team.
Agreed. No, again,
even after that, they made the playoffs, right? And they went back to being the Giants.
Yeah, but my thing is, though, last year their defense was very, very good. A lot of people didn't expect it as much. Their defense looked very good. Offense was still a problem.
They did look very good.
The defense, again, we'll go back to it a little bit. I know Jalen Johnson, I believe someone said he's out for the year, if I'm not mistaken. I know that he's been out the past couple games at minimum. He's one of their best corners by far, and people even consider him as one of the best in the league when he's healthy. So I know that it hasn't been good when it comes to their injuries. Their defense has not looked very good this year at all. The offense has shown signs of being good, and then they show flashes of being very, very bad. But the big one that I want to talk on too is part of their defense, and that's Tyreek Stevenson. Tyreek Stevenson has allowed a perfect passer rating through 2 weeks of the season, and he's allowed 17.7 yards per reception. That's horrible. And that's where you could see that Jalen Johnson really needs to be back in this lineup, which...
So, Jalen Johnson is out indefinitely with a groin injury.
Yeah.
That he re-aggravated during week 2 against the Lions in the second quarter when he went to break up a pass, and he left the game shortly after.
Yeah, so he played for a very short period of time, and then they pulled him, and now they're saying that they don't know when he's going to come back. So it's possible he could be done for the year. But, again, their defense was one of their stronger suits last year. It has not looked good. I know, again, injuries have been a problem, but still, their defense does not look good. But if they want to start fixing things, I know it's going to take some time. Maybe it does end up clicking next year. Only reason why I say it is because I know I've seen Bear fans online. It's kind of like the same situation with the Giants. They've waited and waited and waited and waited, and nothing seems to change. It seems to be the same routine every year. They get extremely hyped up before the season starts. Maybe not so much the Giants, because I know a lot of Giants fans have better expectations of what of what should come that season.
3-14.
So like a lot of them aren't going to be sitting here going, oh, we're going to win the Super Bowl. But the Bears fans get a little bit hyped up and they say, oh, this is going to be a year where we're at least going to look better. And then they come out and they start 0-2 the way that they just did. Even last year, would they win the first 4 games of the year and then lose a whole bunch of games in a row? They are going through a little bit different every year, but it's the same story. They come out, you have better expectations of them, and they still find a way to blow your mind and say, wow, this team is so bad, why do I watch? And I just feel bad for both, again, you Giants fans and Bears fans, because, like I said, it's very similar. They have high expectations, good fan base. They haven't really seen anything since '85. That was the last time that the Bears were extremely good. But they haven't seen anything. They just want to see improvement. And year after year, they just continue to let their fans down. So that's the only reason why I mention it. But now, the Giants situation, this is, I know, something that we've wanted to talk about a little bit. The Giants played much, much better this week against Dallas, or this past week against Dallas. But they continue to find new ways to lose football games. They come out, Russell Wilson has one of his best career days.
450 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Now, the 1 interception did come in overtime.
It did come in overtime, and I will say that it was second down.
Yeah, he kind of forced that a little bit.
Yeah, I get Neighbors has been, dominant the entire game. But if you're throwing a ball off your back foot, it usually doesn't end up in the vicinity of where you wanted it to be. Neighbors was... He had his man beat. Neighbors was wide open. And if it was thrown more at him, it would have been a play where he would have had to fight the safety for the ball. But instead, it was thrown right at the safety.
Yeah, it was just bad.
And Neighbors went. You literally, if you watch the clip, you can see Neighbors. He was running, but once he sees the ball isn't. I'm not saying he wasn't trying his to get open, wasn't trying 100%. But when you see him realize that the ball isn't going directly towards him, you see him kind of not
What is it, let up a little bit?
Not let up, but he looks like he starts running faster. I'm not saying that Neighbors wasn't trying his hardest on that play to get open, but you see him realize that, oh boy, ball's not coming to me. You look at the play, you see him dive at the defender trying to knock the ball out and make it incomplete. You don't do that. It's second down.
Yeah, I thought that was a very big issue. I heard a lot of people saying that Russell Wilson looked extremely, extremely good in the game.
He did.
And then showed a very, very bad sign in overtime by that throw.
In overtime, he looked like Russell Wilson against the Commanders. But in the game itself,
he looked like Russell Wilson of the Seahawks.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, it was literally vintage Russell Wilson. I was sitting watching that game. I was going crazy.
Oh, and I would have too. Now,
they had 44 seconds. The Giants scored. I believe it was a 4th and 10 play, right? And they had to get a first down because they were down by 3, or they were down by. I forgot what they were down by. I believe it was.
It was down by 4.
It was down by 4. No, they were down by 7. No. So the Cowboys, they were down by 3. It was 23-20.
Oh, you're talking about earlier. I thought you were talking about
it was 20. It was 20. They were down by 4. It was 27.
23 maybe or something like that.
I don't know. I don't know what it was.
Regardless,
they were down, and it led the Giants to getting to. They scored 37 points, right?
Yeah.
So they got the Giants. So the Giants had 23 points. I don't know how much Dallas had, but the Giants, I don't know if they had 20. They probably had 23.
Probably
And Dallas, they had them at 4th and 10. The Giants had to get a first down, and Russell Wilson throws a sort of deep ball to Wan'Dale Robinson, who I believe is very underrated. A lot of people don't really appreciate him and see how good he really is when he has a good quarterback throwing him the ball. Like, he can eat. He had like 140-something yards.
Yeah, I know. He played extremely well, too, in that game.
He scored a touchdown, right? Dallas drives down the field. George Pickens scores his first touchdown with the Cowboys, right? They have 44 seconds left with one timeout. And you see Russell Wilson have a wide-open pocket, and you see him looking around. And then, as a Giants fan, I'm like, here we go again. They got a wide-open pocket, a wide-open lane, and he's going to force the ball somewhere, try and get a deep ball downfield. No, he takes off and he runs. He runs for like 20, 25 yards, and he slides. Like, last time I saw that with a Giants quarterback, I don't remember. But then you see 44 seconds left. You see him throw a deep ball to Neighbors. Which Neighbors was double covered. And you look at the play, Neighbors, the defender's hand was like right on his face mask. The ball was thrown perfectly into the breadbasket of.
That was a crazy catch too, and he just ends up doing this.
Yeah, Russell Wilson. That was a vintage Russell Wilson play. Like, it was a moon ball.
Yeah, that was a bomb. That was an absolute bomb. But
and then you have the Cowboys now, who have 20-something seconds with 3 timeouts, and they have the best kicker in the league in Brandon Aubrey. Brandon Aubrey. I'm thinking of when they had Dan Bailey. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Brandon Aubrey. And back in the day, or maybe not even back in the day, like maybe 5-6 years ago, teams were taught not to let the opposing team reach the 50-yard line, the 40-yard line, because kickers were kicking 50-yard field goals, 40 to 50-yard field goals with ease. Now, you can't let them reach the 50.
Yeah, especially him.
They can't let kickers reach the 50 because kickers are different nowadays. They're kicking 60-plus yard field goals like it's nothing. I don't understand why, with 20 seconds left and the entire game, right, you're sending pressure at Dak Prescott, and he is struggling. Absolutely struggling. I get, like, Abdul Carter hasn't had his first sack yet, but Brian Burns is on pace for, like, 20-something sacks. Like, Brian Burns is looking amazing. The Giants' defensive front seven is living up to whatever hype that they had. The defensive front is not playing bad at all. And then you have the secondary. They're playing prevent defense with 20 seconds left. And they left the middle of the field open. It's like, if I was the Giants' defensive coordinator, I would have sent pressure at Dak. And I would have played a regular defense, wouldn't have left the middle open. And if they somehow beat them deep to either A, get into field goal range, or B, score a touchdown, then you can't say that they didn't try to stop them on the play, right?
Yeah, it was just I've seen so many defenses do it. And it's crazy to me that they don't change that style. I've seen teams do it. I saw the Rams do it in the freaking playoffs against Tom Brady when he was on the Buccaneers at one point too, where there's less than a minute left, and what do you do? Or like 2 minutes left, and they are standing, or you have the defensive back standing 10 yards off their receivers, letting them dunk down the field, dink and dunk, left and right. And they get chunk yards every time and just step out of bounds. They save the clock and they just get 8 yards, 10 yards, 8 yards. And they just move them right down where they don't send, like you said, they don't send pressure. That game should not have gone the way that it did. Now, granted, we're going to mention this too because we do got to pick up here. James Hudson, again, we didn't even mention him. 4 penalties consecutive. 4 before he got benched. And 2 of them, I believe, were personal foul calls.
Yep.
2 of them were holding calls. I mean,
No, 2 of them were false starts.
Or sorry, false starts. 2 were false starts, and then 2 were personal foul calls.
Yeah,
that cannot happen.
One of the first penalty of the game was he didn't even try and block the edge rusher. He just
You talk about the smack in the head?
He just smacked his helmet on the ground.
And then on top of that, I was also
Well, the second personal foul one, it could have went either way
still
because
he got the flag.
It looked like the defensive lineman was kind of like hugging him, and he kind of just like pushed off him to get up or something.
Yeah, but still, you can't have that happen.
But you know what? I don't understand, right? James Hudson had 4 penalties in one drive, and he's on the sideline yelling at Dable for taking him out of the game.
Well, obviously he wants to be in the game.
I get he wants to be in the game, but
there's no reason to.
But
do
if you are getting 4 penalties on one singular drive, not just in the game in general, on one drive, you do not deserve to be on the field.
No, it was very, very bad.
And then to go and yell at the head coach,
stupid.
It's not his problem.
You didn't do your job.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then the thing on top of that is they also had 21 flags called on them. 14 of them were accepted, 160 yards. That can also not happen. Now, granted, 4 of them, again, was James Hudson. But still, they are finding ways to lose games that they should win. And that's one big theme that continues to haunt the Giants. Now they're 0-2, and they have to play against the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday. I don't know if the Chiefs are going to end up starting 0-3 to start the year. I don't think it happens. Now, on another guy that played for the Giants, we have Daniel Jones, who is looking like a completely different quarterback. He's looked very, very good in his first 2 starts with the Colts. So they stunned the Broncos this week. Obviously, we saw what they did to Miami in week 1.
Yeah, I kind of thought the Broncos were going to...
I thought the Broncos were going to shut them down. Daniel Jones threw for 316 yards and a touchdown. Again, he added another rushing touchdown. I don't know what it was, if it's just the Giants, if it's the coaching, if it's the weapons around him. I know the Colts have a lot better weapons than people talk them up to be, with Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, Jonathan Taylor, adding Tyler Warren this year, who's been really good. The O-line's always been one of their strong suits. He looks a lot better. Now,
I think the problem with the Giants was the O-line. Because you look at Daniel Jones in the Colts system, right?
I agree.
They also do have a great quarterback development aside from Richardson, but like you look at Daniel Jones, who he's fit perfectly into the system in Indianapolis, but he's finally realizing that when he was in New York, the O-line wasn't good, so he had to do
way more.
He had to do way more. He had to most of the bad decisions that he made in New York were because he had no time in the pocket.
That's very true.
If you look back at the tape, you see Daniel Jones rolling out a lot. You see him running a lot. You see him in New York. You saw him lowering his shoulder, trying to get extra yards. Like you don't do that if you're a quarterback.
You shouldn't do that if you're a quarterback at all.
And you look at Indianapolis, who has one of the best offensive lines in the league. He's finally realizing, like, wait, I don't have to leave the pocket. I can actually make multiple reads. I can make sure my feet are set before I throw the football.
Yeah, it's been a big thing.
I only have to use my legs when I need to, or when teams don't expect me to run.
It's going to show, and it did.
He has been everything the Giants thought he was going to be when they gave him that contract.
100%. 100%.
And like I said with Justin Fields, the Giants didn't build around Daniel Jones.
No, they did not.
I'm not saying this because I am mad or I'm salty. The Giants messed up by giving Jones that contract. Granted, the year he had before that was not that bad.
It wasn't that good, though, either.
But it wasn't warranted the 150. I don't know if it was 150. We gave him a lot of money. The 4-year 100 and whatever. I think it might have been 150 or 120, 100, whatever, however much money they gave him. He wasn't warranted that much money.
No.
And ultimately, it led to them not being able to afford the best running back in the NFL, now Super Bowl champion Saquon Barkley, which that was a mistake in itself.
And Offensive Player of the Year, I believe, as well, too.
Yes. Well, only thing I will say is the only reason they gave Jones the contract over Barkley is because it would have been a $32 million cap hit with Jones, and with Barkley and the franchise tag, it was only like 12 or 13 or something. And with Jones' contract, his cap hit was low. But at the same time, right? You look at Daniel Jones' agent comes to you and they go, "We want this much money." You say, "You're not worth that much money." You say, "You're not worth that much money. You can do whatever you want." If I was Brian Dable, like I get he had a great season or a decent season the year before, but I would have let him walk.
Yeah,
I would have been like, "Saquon, how much do you want? What do you like?" And it doesn't even. What makes me even more mad is, yes, I get Darius Slayton has been the Giants' best receiver for the past however many years, and I love the guy. But when you tell an all-pro running back that you're not willing to give somebody $36 million over 3 years, and then you give it to a wide receiver who is average.
Yeah, it's a bad look. It's a very bad
look.
An
average the year after, he said, you tell the best running back in the league that you're not going to give him that kind of money.
Yeah. It's just
bad.
It is. It's bad business. Now, we will kind of move off them as well, too. I do want to talk about one more thing before we kind of get into a little bit of college football, or actually before we make our picks for this upcoming week, which we'll try and make fairly quick, too. The last thing I'm going to touch on is the big issue that we've seen the past week, which was during the Sunday afternoon game between the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles, and that is the tush-push issue. Now,
I'm gonna say this: the Eagles don't look that good.
Well, we won't even worry about that. My big thing is, in regards to the tush-push, I saw a lot of Chiefs players come out after the game and complain about it. They were saying, "Oh, well, they run the play the whole game. This is ridiculous, blah, blah, blah." The big thing that I saw was there were multiple times on the play where they ran it, and every single offensive lineman is offsides. Every single one. Some of them are jumping before the ball is snapped, and they're not even calling it. I mean, they had the big talk about this before the season started, saying, do we ban the tush push, yes or no? I've heard multiple people say yes. I've heard multiple people say no. Now, granted, I believe
Green Bay was the team that brought it up to the...
They did. But the thing is it's besides who brought it up. It's the sake of... Obviously, I saw some other analysts talking about this. You saw that... the product doesn't look that great when stuff like that happens. The MLB has made changes before.
Well,
the NBA made changes.
The only thing I'm going to say, right, is I get the Eagles abuse the tush push, right?
They do.
But at the same time, I'm going to compare this to when people called the Yankees out for cheating earlier on in the season with the torpedo bats. It's legal. Why didn't you think of doing it?
I get that argument.
Why didn't you think of, I'm not
listen.
I am not sticking up for the Eagles. I do not like them at all.
Know.
I absolutely despise them. But I get if they literally tried to ban the tush push, and Roger Goodell in the league, they said no.
Well,
and the Eagles are like, you know what? If it's not broke,
don't fix it.
I know. Exactly.
But that's not the point. The point is I don't care if it's legal and if other teams want to use it, because you're 100% right. If you want to use it and it's legal, use it. You should be able to use it. My point is, it's not a good look for the league because, obviously, like I said, the MLB has changed multiple rules in order to make the product look better. The NBA has changed multiple rules to make the product look better. Then on top of this, you have officials missing basic calls.
You can make an argument that every play of the football game there is a flag.
100%.
they're not going to call it every single time.
It's the blatantness, though. I mean, I watched one of the plays. I think it was late in the fourth quarter where they got the first. They had multiple guys jumping off sides, and it wasn't called. And it's not like it was something that they should, they maybe missed. Like if you're looking at it and it's just something very slight and you miss it.
No, there was like
blatant.
there was a camera. I think it was the pylon view, right? You were able to see it from.
Yeah. It's blatant, and then if you look at the pylon view, you see that 6 guys are offsides, and they don't call it. I mean, this is stuff that they have to pick up on. If they don't start picking up on it, then I would understand why they would ban it. Trust me, I'm in favor of them keeping it because if the Eagles are good enough to use it, anyone else is good enough to use it. You got to run the play yourself. The officiating has got to be better if they're going to be offsides because if you're breaking the rules of the game of football, it needs to be called. Now, granted, I get what you're saying, where you're going to have some calls that they're going to miss. Not every referee is perfect. You
can argue every play of the game. There's either
a holding,
a false start,
a pass interference.
Exactly.
I get it, but again, some of them are not that blatantly obvious. Those were blatantly obvious. And it's especially concerning when you have players that are coming out and criticizing it. Now, granted, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles have attempted more tush-push opportunities than they have thrown the ball further than 10 yards. It is not a good look for the league. Everyone wants to see the deep ball. Everyone wants to see quarterbacks throw the ball more. That's why
It's not even like you can say the Eagles don't have the weapons to do it.
They do.
You look at the receivers. They have
A.J. Brown,
Devonta Smith,
Dallas Goedert, even though he's a tight end. John Mechie.
There's another one.
Jahan Dotson. They have weapons, and they just don't throw the ball because the whole game, if it's 3rd and 2, 2nd and 2, 3rd and 1, 2nd and 1, they are going for the tush push. They don't care. And it's like I said, I have no problem with the play itself. It's just a bad look.
Right?
It's a bad look.
It's like if you're just looking for that extra yard, you have the best running back in the league. It's not an argument anymore. For a while, there was an argument whether it was Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, or Saquon Barkley. Now it's just obvious that Saquon is number 1.
Yeah, they could just hand the ball off to him and get that yard anyway.
Exactly.
But that's why it frustrates me more is because they're taking away the play of seeing some of the better players and premier players in the league and replacing it with a play like that. And it's just sad. It's very, very sad. Now,
quickly, we're just going to speak upon how J.J. McCarthy has looked god-awful.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. He's got to start waking it up. Now, granted, he's out this week, so Carson Wentz is going to be filling in for him. If it was me, to be honest with you, their offense has looked stagnant for 7 out of 8 quarters of football that they've played so far this year. If Carson Wentz starts moving the ball,
I leave him in.
I would leave him in. I know that they still have a lot of confidence in JJ and they think that he can be the guy. I mean, they did the same thing with Sam Darnold, but if they expect to make the playoffs, and they have a good enough record too, and they were either 13-4 or 14-3 last year. Yeah. They have a good enough team. If you cannot start moving the ball on offense, and you're going to have a vet like Carson Wentz come in and he starts moving the ball with no problem, J.J. McCarthy may have to see the bench for a little bit. That's just my opinion on it.
And you have weapons on offense. You have one of the best receivers in the league in Justin Jefferson.
No, they have one of the best receiver rooms, especially when Jordan Addison comes back.
They have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Adam Thielen.
That's a great room. On top
tight end, T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah.
Running back.
Well, Aaron Jones
Jordan
is
Mason.
out. But Jordan Mason, if you have him in fantasy football, that's a good move.
I would start him.
Yeah, I would start him as well, too. He's going to get a lot
I would
of
go look at the waiver wire. I don't think he would still be there at this point.
I doubt it. I trust me, in both of my leagues, he's gone. So I know somebody drafted him in both leagues. I knew he was going to get drafted. Now, we'll try and make our picks quick because I do want to touch on a little bit of college football and a little bit of baseball as well, too.
I will say this quickly. Baker Mayfield
looked very, very good.
Looked very well. Looked very good against the Texans. And
Egbuka
is pretty good. Now, I want to bring this up.
Okay.
Mike Evans. You obviously know that he has tied Jerry Rice for the longest consecutive streak of seasons with 1,000 receiving yards.
Mm-hmm.
So far, this season, in 2 games, he has 5 receptions for 50 yards in each game. Does he eclipse 1,000 yards this season?
I think that he somehow will at some point, too. There's going to be one game where he goes off. I have a feeling.
I have a feeling, too. I think there's going to be 1 or 2 games where he goes for 250.
Okay.
No, not 250. Not 250, but he can,
whoa.
Not 250, but you understand what I'm
High
saying.
hundreds, maybe like a 150 game here, a 125 game here. It's going to start coming. And the thing is, the minute that they get Godwin back, that's going to open more avenues for Evans to be able to do more. I think he does clips 1,000 yards. I would be very surprised if he doesn't, especially since Baker so far has proven he's a top 10 quarterback in this league. He has.
He has to be.
He definitely is. Well, actually, that's something that we're going to end up doing at some point. I do want to end up doing the rankings for quarterbacks, but I think we can wait to the midpoint of the year.
Who's looked really good this year so far is Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert's looked very good as well, too.
Quentin Johnston's looked...
Quentin Johnson, well, you knew he would kind of figure it out, too. He was very, very good at TCU when he played there. You knew that once he started getting the rhythm down, maybe it was the first year, like Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase didn't really have that great...
It was the first, 2 or 3 years he didn't know how to catch football.
Yeah, well, no, it was first... I think he only got drafted, 2 years ago?
No, I think it was 2 years. I think it was 3 years ago, and he had... Last year was his sophomore season, and he still didn't look that great.
You know what? But it still will take some time. But... Anyway, we'll get to some of our picks for this week. We're going to try and fly through them pretty quick because I do want to bring up some of the upsets that we saw from college football this past week.
And then quickly talk
about baseball before we wrap up the show. So I'm going to go through the list here. You could just give me your team, and then I'll finish off, and I'll give you what team I'm going to take as well. So for this week, we have, starting on Sunday, the Rams and Eagles. Now, this one's going to be tough for me. I'm curious to hear who you have first. Who are you taking?
I voiced my opinion on the Eagles. I mean, Rams defense looks really good. I said myself the Eagles don't look that great. I could see the Rams winning the game, but in reality, it's going to be the Eagles.
As much as I want to sit here and say I think the Eagles have the chance at winning the game, I will never pick against the Rams. Unfortunately. Obviously, it's a little bias in me. I think that the Eagles, like you just said, have a very good shot at winning the game. I'm still taking the Rams to win. I think that the Rams defense holds their passing offense to a little bit lower. I think the Rams finally get the better of the Eagles, even though it is in Philadelphia. I'm going to take the Rams to win. A lot of people are going to kill me for that one because I'm a Rams fan, but you know what? I'm not going to pick against my own team. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. Plus, my dad, who obviously watches the show, would choke me if he saw me pick the Eagles this week. So, Dad, I'm not picking the Eagles. Don't worry. I'm taking the Rams. Bengals at Vikings. You have Wentz versus Browning.
I think this game is going to be a snooze fest.
I think it could be, but I'm going to take Carson Wentz and the Minnesota Vikings at home. I think that they figure it out.
I could see Wentz figuring it out, but I do think that, because you forget, Browning played with the Bengals for a few games last season, and he didn't really look that bad.
Well, I'm not saying that he looked bad.
I'm just saying, I see the Bengals coming out on top of this game.
Okay, so you're going with the Bengals, and I'm going to go with the Vikings here. Steelers at Patriots. I'm going to take the Steelers to bounce back. I think they had a bad week last week. I think that they win this week.
I also am going to pick the Steelers to win this game.
All right. Colts at Titans.
Colts.
I'm going to take the Colts.
I don't see the Titans winning this game at all.
I don't either. It's going to be a lot closer. I think the Titans still need a little bit of work, even though they did look a little better last week. I'm still going to take the Colts, though. I think Daniel Jones continues to play well.
They did play the Dolphins. That's probably why they looked a little better.
No, but that was the week before.
Yes, I'm talking about the Titans.
And then they played the Rams last week, and they didn't play that bad in the first half. It was 13-10 lead for the Titans going into halftime.
Wait, they played the Rams?
Yeah. Trust me, I watched the game, so I know it was the Rams. Then you have the Texans at the Jaguars. I'm going with the Texans this week.
I'm taking the Texans here, too.
I don't think the Jaguars are that. I think they're a little bit overhyped. I think the Texans come back and finally get themselves in the win column. Falcons at Panthers. I'm going to take the Falcons to win. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You're going to take the Falcons?
Yeah.
Okay. So... let's see. Jets at Bucks.
I'm taking the Bucks.
I'm also taking the Bucks. That's not a surprise.
There's no way the Bucks lose this game.
I don't think, especially with no Justin Fields either.
Especially at home.
Yeah. Especially, well, at home too. Yeah, no, I doubt it. Then you have the Raiders at the Commanders.
Commanders are going to win.
I'm taking Washington to win that game. That's not a surprise. This one shouldn't even take that much effort. Packers at Browns.
Packers are going to win the game. There's no way they lose this game.
I agree with you. I'm taking the Packers. The Saints at the Seattle Seahawks.
Seahawks, I don't think the Saints are a good football team.
They are not a good football team. Even the 49ers, who are all sorts of banged up, still found a way to beat them with minimal offensive pieces other than McCaffrey. Mac Jones looked good. I'm taking Seattle to win again. Cardinals at 49ers. This one's probably going to be one of the tougher picks.
I'm taking the Cardinals here only because I know the Cardinals haven't looked great this season, but at the end of the day, it is Mac Jones at quarterback for the 49ers, and I just can't pick Mac Jones.
Yeah, well, here's what I'm going to say on it. I'm hoping that I reverse jinx myself here. I'm going to take the 49ers to win. Both weeks that I've picked against them so far, they've won. I'm hoping that they lose because I don't like them anyway. I'm going to pick the 49ers to win. I hope that the Cardinals do win, but I'm going to take the 49ers. Cowboys at Bears. I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys. I think that the Bears continue to still struggle. They just do not seem like they're going to figure it out. I think Dallas's defense gives them a little bit of trouble, even though it hasn't been that great. I'm going with Dallas to win. Who do you take in that game?
I am also going to, the only time you're ever going to hear me, I'm probably not the only time, but the only time I'm going to say this with confidence is the Dallas Cowboys are definitely winning this game. Yeah. I know my mom's father is smiling from heaven hearing me say that because I would never say it when I was a kid.
Yeah, so this is going to be one that
I said this 2 weeks ago, and I said it a few weeks before that. This is a trap game. The Giants are winning this game.
Okay.
It is their home opener. It is primetime football. I don't care that the Chiefs are 0-2 and they're looking to get their first. I've said it before, and I'm keeping my. It's not by. I'm not.
You're standing on business.
I'm keeping my opinion the same. This is, you could say this is all biased, but I do believe this is a trap game and the Giants are going to win.
Okay.
I'm not saying they're going to blow the Chiefs out.
No.
I get
what
it's
you're
going
saying.
to be a good football game like last week, Giants-Cowboys, but I do think the Giants come out on top.
I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sorry. I'm not picking the Giants. Every time I pick the Giants, they end up losing. I'm not picking the Giants. I don't think they start out 0-3. It's very possible that this could be a trap game. That's why I'm not disputing you on this. I am not taking the New York Giants to win. I'm sorry. I'm taking Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes to bounce back, even with limited weapons. It's going to be a very close game. This one, I was talking with my friends the other night about it. This is a game where I'm betting on the under, I think. I think it's going to be a very defensive ball game, very low scoring. Both offenses, I really don't see doing that much because Kansas City's defense is good. Giants' defense, I think, has a little bit more of a bounce back week after letting up 40 points. I think it's going to be a lower game, but again, this could be a trap game. I'm still going with the Kansas City Chiefs.
It's a trap game.
Now, the last game is going to be the Ravens versus the Lions in Baltimore. I am going to take the Baltimore Ravens.
I am not going to disagree with you on that. I think the Ravens look way better than the Lions do, and there's no
there's no way to
argument.
go about it. There's no argument there. I'm taking the Ravens, and you're also taking the Ravens. So that's going to be our picks for the week. Then we're going to go over a couple little upsets here. So in college football, we did see Texas A&M upset Notre Dame this week as they surged in the rankings. Notre Dame is actually still ranked, even though they started out the season 0-2. The number 16 Texas A&M Aggies went to South Bend. They took on number 8 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The game was an awesome game. Aggies ended up winning with 11 seconds left to tie the game, and then the extra point that they kicked would give them the lead as they won the game. And then now the Aggies are now ranked in the top 10 at number 10 in the rankings, and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish plummet to number 24, but this is the first team to start 0-2 and be ranked in the top 25 since Michigan in 1988. A lot of people were very pissed off. Now, granted, their two losses are to Texas A&M and to Miami. Those are two very, very good programs. Both of them are in the top 10 right now. So there's a reason why they're still ranked. If they would have gotten blown out in those games, I could see it. Not necessarily deserving of being kicked out of the rankings, though, if they're going to lose 2 games to the top 10 teams. I'm sorry. Then you saw Georgia ended up beating Tennessee. That was a great game. I don't know if you watched it. I did. It was freaking nuts. But yeah, so the Georgia Bulldogs ranked number 6, beat the number 15 ranked Tennessee Volunteers. The schools battled it out, and the final score was 44-41 in overtime.
There were like 2 more games that same night that were also very good.
Well, yeah, those are games that I definitely mentioned on here for sure as well, too. Maybe?
No, I don't see either of them on here. I know it was the Pitt and what team? Who they play against? Was it Vanderbilt?
No.
No.
Vanderbilt was the South Carolina game.
It was Pitt, and it was it was Rivals Week.
You're gonna have to look.
I'm gonna look, and then the 8:00 game.
The 8:00 game.
I'll look that up. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, just go for it. I'm going to continue to kind of go through this a little bit. So we saw Georgia win 44-41 in overtime. The Volunteers were actually winning the game 21-7 early, but Georgia ended up coming back. They ended up tying the game with just under 3 minutes left to go, and Tennessee had the opportunity to win it, but they missed a 43-yard field goal at the buzzer to send the game into overtime. Georgia would get a stop that had Tennessee kick a field goal, and then Georgia in 3 plays would run right down the field and end up punching one into the end zone to take the win away from Tennessee. That was one of the games of the weekend. Awesome game to watch. Another one that I watched was the Clemson versus Georgia Tech game. Georgia Tech upset the number 12 Tigers again as they won by a score of 24-21. Georgia Tech had Clemson losing 13-0 early, but Clemson was able to come back and tie the game. They ended up taking a lead, but Georgia Tech ended up tying it and then kicking a field goal at the buzzer again to stun the Clemson Tigers. Clemson now falls out of the top 25 rankings. Cade Klubnik did not look very good in this game again. I mean, he did have his moments. So much for the possibility of him winning the Heisman. Right now, he is not looking like a Heisman candidate either, which is not really a shock to me. Then one that we also saw was Vanderbilt. Oh, wait, actually,
so
what was the game?
The second game was the 8:00 game was the Notre Dame game. That was the game I was talking about.
Yeah, okay, so yeah.
They scored with like, what, 7 seconds left?
11 seconds.
11, and then the other, it was Pitt versus Villanova.
Yes, that was a pretty good game too.
That also went in overtime.
Yeah. That was another surprising one as well, too. But at least for the main one that I saw, one that's kind of, I'm not going to say it shocked me.
No, it wasn't Villanova. It was...
No, I was about to say, because Villanova got, I believe, spanked by Penn State this week.
Pitt game.
Or was that last week?
It was this week.
But yeah, no, so Vanderbilt ended up upsetting South Carolina. South Carolina's quarterback, Lenora Sellers, actually went out with an injury in the game, so Vanderbilt ended up taking a lead and pulling away. Diego Pavia ended up playing extremely well for Vanderbilt, leading the way for them. Vanderbilt ends up knocking them off by a final score of 31-7. Now South Carolina also falls out of the rankings, and Vanderbilt jumps to number 20. Another game was the LSU versus Florida game. Obviously, LSU was ranked number 3. Florida was unranked going into this game.
It was West Virginia versus Pitt.
Okay, well, that is a big rivalry game, so that kind of makes sense as to why it was probably a battle all the way until the end there. But we did see, like I said, LSU versus Florida. Florida's DJ Lagway threw 5 interceptions against LSU in the game, including a pick 6, as LSU's defense was able to hold Florida scoreless after halftime, winning by a score of 20-10. Another one that we will touch on, because of course I'm going to touch on this, is Arch Manning continuing to struggle as they played against UTEP. Now, granted, they did win. They opened as 36.5-point favorites and only won by a score of 27-10. Arch Manning in the game went 11 for 25, 114 yards passing, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. He continues to struggle. That was my biggest point, was he just did not have the experience yet, and you needed to give him some time. It does look like he may be battling a little bit of an injury. I've seen him grimacing as he's thrown a couple times, so we don't know if that's going to be a big concern for him. Definitely something that they may want to get checked out, but Texas's offense has not looked nearly as good as they had in prior weeks, even in the prior season. Hopefully they do turn it around, because this is a team with national championship hopes, but so far it is not looking too pretty for them as well. Another one, just really quick, that we could touch on is Bryce Underwood played extremely well again against Central Michigan. Now, granted, this was a game that they ended up winning 63-3, but Bryce Underwood threw for 235 yards and a touchdown, only had one interception, and then he also ran for 114 yards and 2 touchdowns on 9 carries. Very, very impressive day from Bryce Underwood. I kind of knew that he had a lot of hype behind him, being that he was the possible freshman of the year this year and the number 1 recruit coming into college this season. Not really a shocker, but he's still got a long way to go. Michigan does make a little bounce in the rankings, but not all too much. And then the last thing that I will say is they have a couple matchups this week that should be fairly interesting, as you have the number 17 Texas Tech team taking on the Utah Utes, ranked at number 16 right now, as the Red Raiders are clashing against the Utah physical defense powerhouse unit that they have. That should be a very good game this week. You also see number 22 Auburn traveling to number 11 Oklahoma. So you have Auburn's ground and pound attack as they look to slow down Oklahoma's explosive offense in Norman. So that should be a very good game as well. You have Michigan at Nebraska, which is a big game coming up. I believe that should be the primetime game of the week. So Michigan tries to bounce back and continue their winning ways that they've had against the surging Nebraska squad who's looking for a big statement win this week. The battle of the Florida teams, you have Florida versus number 4 Miami. The Gators want to play spoiler as Miami looks to solidify its top 5 situation that they're in right now. And then obviously you have the number 9 Illinois Illini going against the Indiana Hoosiers, ranked at number 16. That's a pivotal Big Ten showdown where Illinois' balanced attack meets Indiana's upset-minded Hoosiers. Should be a very, very good week of football this week. But now we will skip on to baseball just to wrap up the show a little bit here. So do you want to go first with the Yankees? I can kind of close out with the Mets here, or you want me to go first?
I mean, I could go first.
Take the wheel. You go for it.
So the Yankees, I can finally say this season, they won the series against the Red Sox 2-1. Game 1, the Yankees saw a 4-1 win as Judge hit the farthest ball hit at Fenway Stadium this season.
Which was a moonshot.
It was an absolute moonshot to pass Joe DiMaggio as the Yankees' 4th all-time home run leader. And Luis Gil went 6 innings without allowing a hit. 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. Fernando Cruz allowed a home run in the 7th. Yankees would walk away with the win.
It was a big win.
Game 2, Jazz Chisholm had 3 RBIs. Again, Max Fried went 5 in the 3rd innings, 9 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. The Red Sox would eventually come close, but you see Bellinger driving 1 run off Chapman in the 8th. No, was it the 8th or the 9th? It might have been the 9th.
I think it was the 9th inning.
It was the 9th inning, and that allowed Judge to score.
Yep.
And then in the 3rd game, I am saying this right now, Will Warren is not in our rotation come playoff time.
I know you were saying some good things about
agree.
him. Ooh, man.
I didn't like him. I mean, it's not saying he's young. He definitely has the potential, but he's not ready to be a starting pitcher in the playoffs. Rotation should be Fried, Rodon, Heel, and if needed, the 4th starter is Cam Schlittler. I don't give a crap about what you say. If you put him in the bullpen and have Will Warren coming in I won't agree with it.
Maybe they do a piggyback game with Warren and Schlittler, maybe.
I don't like it. Like, you look at Schlittler, he's been amazing.
Well, he didn't have his best stuff last game, but
last game he didn't really have his best stuff, but still, he's been phenomenal. But Will Warren allowed 6 runs in the 1st inning. The Yankees tried to make a comeback. They lost 6-4. Judge hit another home run. I mean, we have Aaron Boone finally waking up and realizing that Volpe is not a starting shortstop for this team. every day. I will congratulate him on that. He's finally managing the team the right way. You know,
Yay.
I waited for this day to come, for it to happen, and, you know, I hope I can say this in a few weeks. Pack your bags, Volpe. You're done in New York.
Yeah, I know you're going to that.
They lost. They took 2 out of 3 from Boston. Then they go and lose 7-0 to Minnesota with Rodon on the mound, which you don't really see that happen that much.
No, it's rare.
And then Tuesday's game, I almost lost it.
Yeah, that was the Cam Schlittler game, too.
Cam Schlittler came out. He pitched 5 innings. He went 4 2/3, 3 hits, 4 runs.
Not his best stuff.
Not his best stuff. But you have a 10-1 lead. And the bullpen, Fernando Cruz, I don't know, it might have been Fernando Cruz.
I think it was Fernando Cruz.
He came in and he gave up, it might have been 4 runs or something. Because going into the 9th inning, it was a 10-8 ball game. No, it was Ryan Yarbrough. Ryan Yarbrough allowed 4 hits on 4 runs.
Or 4 runs on 4 hits. I know what you were saying, though.
4 runs on 4 hits in 1/3 of an inning.
Yeah, got 1 out.
The
Yikes.
Twins would score the last 6 runs of the game, adding a solo home run off of David Bednar in the 9th. The Yankees won that game. I was relieved because if they lost, I would have been going to Best Buy and buying my family a new TV.
Yeah, I was about to say that would have been a rough one.
Holy
smokes.
I would have lost it. I would have had to buy a new TV, and it would not have been cheap.
No, it would not.
Put it that way. In Game 3, Trent Bonds lives on. Trent Bonds lives on.
Well, Gary Sheffield even tweeted it out the other night. He goes, whoever signs Grisham next year is either getting Anthony Santander or Barry Bonds. So Trent Bonds lives on, man.
He said something. He said something in the dugout which I can't fully repeat.
Nah.
But he said, "Who needs doubles when you hit home runs? F them." Or something like that.
Yep.
Who needs doubles when you hit home runs?
Trent Bonds.
F him.
Yeah.
He hit 2 home runs. They got production from Bellinger, Stanton, Wells, Judge, Rice, and, surprisingly, Volpe.
Wow.
Well,
what a shot.
I'm gonna say this. All-Star break, he got a cortisone shot in his shoulder, right? He came out in the Miami series. He looked like he was starting to figure out how to play baseball again. He looked like he was not trying to hit home runs, not chasing as much. And I think it's because the cortisone shot helped with his labrum. It didn't make it hurt as much.
Maybe.
And I guess after it stopped working is when he started to go again.
Yeah.
But you're seeing the same thing now. He's probably going to need surgery in the offseason.
Yeah, most likely.
And he just got the cortisone shot last week. They let him sit a few days. He came back. You see him hitting the baseball more. You see him doing more. I'm not saying he's a bad baseball player in general. It's just that if you know he has a torn labrum,
why are you playing him?
Exactly. He's 24 years old.
Yeah, there's no.
He could potentially have a long career ahead of him, and you playing him this year could jeopardize that entire thing completely.
Yeah, big time. Especially with that kind of injury, that could be crucial.
Labrum is nothing to joke about.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
But maybe the cortisone shot's doing something for him. Maybe not.
Who knows?
Luis Gil was 4 2/3 inning, 9 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. The Yankees would win the series against Baltimore, and then they would head to Baltimore yesterday against Baltimore. Max Fried put on an absolute masterclass. Went 7 shutout innings with 13 strikeouts.
Yeah. I also want to mention this quick about that. I saw a bet that somebody placed last night, which was Sandy Alcantara to have, I think, like 8 strikeouts. Who was it? Jonah Tong to have 7+ strikeouts. Tariq Skubal to have 7+, and then Max Fried to have 8+. It was a $200 bet to pay out $70,000.
And it hit?
And he had just a Max Fried leg left. I don't know if the guy cashed it or not. The cash out option at the time was for $13,000. So I hope to God that the dude wrote it out, because if he did, Max Fried just cashed him $70,000, which is sick. I saw that and was like, oh my God, this man went crazy.
And then last night you have production from, you have RBI double from Eddie Rosario, Wells, Goldschmidt, and Stanton all provided with some hits to sac flies, whatever. Bellinger also drove Judge in on a RBI double. I mean, you have Volpe Volpe looked good last night. He had a base hit, and then sliding into second, he had a swim move, avoided a tag, and then the next play he stole third base. Like, when's the
I don't know. I don't know.
They play Baltimore again tonight. They play him tomorrow, and they play him Sunday. And then after that, they have an off day, and they play Chicago and Baltimore again in New York.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. There is only maybe 12 games left in the season. As of right now, Tampa Bay did what they were supposed to do, and I believe they took 2 out of 4 from Toronto. The Yankees are 3 games behind Toronto. And they're 3 games ahead of Boston for the wild card right now, because the Athletics beat Boston. I'm saying this right now, and you're not going to hear me say this again. I am rooting for Boston to sweep the Blue Jays.
I don't know if that'll happen.
If Boston can sweep Toronto, and the Yankees play perfect baseball against the 2 teams they have left, which I'm going to say this right now, are teams that are not good, that are not great, there's a chance they could win the division. The last thing I want to happen, though, is them ending in a tie with Toronto, because then Toronto would easily take that.
Yeah.
But there's like probably like a 1% chance they win the division. But if they can,
It's a possibility.
it's 3 games. It's 3 games.
Anything could happen in those 3. Anything could happen.
Wednesday night they were down by 5. Now they're down by 3.
Yep. All it takes is a couple losses, and everyone knows. Even Boston's going to have to play for them to make the playoffs too. So This game is going to mean a lot to Boston as well. So they could potentially come out and win that series.
I believe Toronto plays. I forgot who they play now, but then they play Tampa Bay and they play Boston again.
Yeah.
They play Boston and Tampa Bay again.
And Boston's going to be itching, like I said, to get into that final playoff spot. So we will close out on the Mets here for now. The Mets did start out earlier in the week. They did drop a series to the Texas Rangers, losing 2 out of 3 games.
They play the Blue Jays play the Royals.
Okay, so anything's possible. Like I said, just like with the Mets situation, anything is still possible for them, except obviously winning the NL East, which got clinched by the Phillies the other night. The Mets did lose the first game of the Rangers series, 8-3. Jonah Tong did not even finish the first inning. Obviously, it wasn't his best outing, but I also didn't think that he pitched horrible that game either. It's very hard for a 22-year-old to only make 2 starts in AAA and then proceed to make all these starts in the majors against a team that's been very hot the past couple of weeks. So he allowed 4 hits and 6 runs, only striking out 1 batter. Like I said, it's hard to judge him on that. Jacob deGrom actually made his return to Citi Field that night, and he pitched extremely well. He allowed 4 hits and 3 runs, but he went 7 innings and tallied 2 strikeouts. But the Mets weren't able to win that game.
I have a fun fact about that game. Now, in that game, Jacob deGrom had the most run support that he had ever. He got more run support with the Rangers than he ever had with the Mets at Citi Field.
I know. Don't rub it in, please.
No, I'm not rubbing it in.
I know. I'm just saying.
I'm not rubbing it in. I find that stat
embarrassing.
Not embarrassing, but unbelievable.
Yeah, it's bad.
With how dominant Jacob deGrom was with the Mets, they couldn't give him any run support?
Nope. Hey, listen, I'm a Mets fan. I see it firsthand, so trust me. I know.
I am going to laugh again.
I know. So then in Game 2, the Mets, again, They're starting out with a 2-0 lead. They take a 2-0 lead into the 8th inning. Trevor Rogers allows 2 runs. They tie it up, and then Diaz allows a run in the 9th, and the Mets drop the game 3-2. What a shocker. Brandon Sproat actually pitched really well in that game, too. He went 6 innings, allowing 6 hits and no runs. And then, obviously, the bullpen proceeded to drop the game. What a shocker. And then the 3rd game, they finally decide to win off of a Pete Alonso grand slam in the bottom of the 10th inning, which the Mets, again, are winning 2-0. They blow a 2-0 lead, but luckily Alonso was able to win the game that game for them. Then they had an off day and started a series with the Padres on Tuesday. They ended up scoring 7 runs in the first 2 innings of that game to open up. You saw home runs from Beatty, Lindor, and Alonso, which gave them a lead. Then you saw, obviously, another home run from Cedric Mullins in the 4th inning. Holmes and Manaea both went half and half during the game. They were able to give the Mets an 8-3 win, which was huge because they're sitting behind the Padres right now for the second wild card spot. Then they did lose game 2 of the series.
Where was that run support on Tuesday?
I don't know. Of course not. Who the hell knows? But then the Mets ended up losing Tuesday to the not Tuesday. Game 2, which was on Wednesday, they dropped to the Padres 7-4.
I'm gonna say one thing.
Sure.
I was sitting at my job waiting for I was working at my cousin's bar, right? And we were sitting waiting because we were working a soccer game, and we had both games on the TV. And the second I saw Machado at the plate,
bases loaded,
I said, grand slam.
Yep, and he hit a bomb.
And everyone was like, whoever else was working with me was like, that's not happening. Like, you can't say that.
Yep.
And what do you know? First pitch, or I don't know what pitch it was in the at bat, but I said, bang, Machado went deep.
Yep, of course. Yeah, thank you again for reminding me. I appreciate that. So like I said, you had solo home runs.
I have a knack for those things.
I know you do, of course. They had solo shots from Alonso, Marte, Soto, and Alvarez, but the Padres obviously took the lead in the game off of a Machado grand slam. David Peterson only went 5 innings, allowed 6 hits and 6 runs, only 1 strikeout with 3 walks. They were able to take the lead into the game, even though, like I mentioned, Soto and Alvarez hit 2 home runs to bring the game within 2, but then the Padres were able to make it a 3-run game and win 7-4. But then you saw the Mets respond in a great way yesterday, which Jonathan came out and pitched really well. 6 strong innings. He allowed 4 hits and 1 run with 8 strikeouts on 82 pitches. Very big bounce back game from him. I had a feeling that was coming. The Mets did win the game 6-1. Pete Alonso ended up hitting a home run in the first inning. Brandon Nimmo added a 3-run home run as well. Soto added an RBI and a fielder's choice. Alonso again would add a sac fly RBI, so the Mets were able to play a little bit better. They got good relief innings, thank God, from Rogers, Raley, Soto, and Diaz to close that game out. They currently sit 2 games above the Arizona Diamondbacks for the 3rd wild card spot right now. The Mets do have the Washington Nationals coming to town tonight. It should be a very interesting series, but the Mets have their backs against the wall. They need to continue to start hitting the ball more, given that run support. You need big outings coming up from your pitching, including the relief appearances. They still have a chance at making the playoffs somehow, some way, but these next games are going to be very telling about how this season is going to go and if the Mets do end up making the playoffs. That being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode number 13. I am your host, Zach, along with my co-host,
Julian.
And we will see you guys next week for episode number 14. Peace.